So we're back here for episode 5 on a few points from perfect, and
Are we sure it's 5? There seemed to be some discussion about
I
that.
do believe that it's 5 at this point. Yeah.
Excellent.
And we have the one and only Johs Harris here.
Yes.
There's actually another Johs Harris. He's actually a famous Christian pastor who recently renounced his faith. I'm not that guy. Some of my friends thought I was that guy. They're like, "What's going on, man?"
Really?
Like, nobody. Yeah. But so I am Johs Harris, though.
So we need to, for people who don't know, who is Johs Harris? Johs Harris was my business partner for 10 plus years.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think people on YouTube are slowly starting to figure this out, but I was in business for a few years. Got overran by it. Me and you went into business together.
We did.
I kept my business. Me and you created a new business.
Mm-hmm.
And we operated a business for, well, I guess right at 10 years, didn't we?
Yeah, we celebrated our 10th anniversary about the same time as we started, kind of like the final talks of, it's probably ran
Time
its
to wind
course.
this down.
Happy 10th anniversary. But I want to correct something.
Oh, boy.
You say YouTube doesn't know about it. You put my phone number on your YouTube station, and a few years ago, I started getting like fans calling, and I'm like, man, you got the wrong number.
This is one of the best accidental mistakes I ever made in my life. So, of course, everybody, when they start YouTube, they never dream it's ever going to do anything, right?
Oh, before you get going on this, because we're going to be neighbors, I feel like I need to make a good first
So we're
impression.
making that public?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I warned him about putting your phone number. Well, putting that phone number
No,
on
he
YouTube.
just told me about putting my phone number out there.
Yeah.
I said, I don't have my phone number out
He's
there.
You're sure.
Don't worry, that doesn't go to me.
This is not totally true. Somewhat true, not totally true. So anyways, to finish his story,
I completely believe
of course,
Jason.
whenever we
Go
first
ahead.
started in YouTube, I'm like, nobody's ever going to watch this. It's never going to go nowhere. So I used to have signs on the sides of my truck.
Yeah, are they behind us now? They better not be.
They're the other way. You're
Okay,
luck.
good.
So,
Well, those are some oats. That's first edition.
that's,
the one on the
that's
right.
old school. You want to show them? You want to show the camera?
No, I don't. I want to show them. I need that number to not go
So-
ahead.
That's
Anyways,
281330. Oh, sorry.
YouTube starts catching fire, and then I realized that his phone number's plastered all over the side of my truck, and everybody's like, "You have got to get your people to quit calling me." I'm like, "I don't get any phone calls."
They're your people now, huh?
I guess.
Oh.
So, anyways, yeah, I apologize for that, Josh. I didn't mean to plaster your phone number.
Yeah,
anymore,
yeah.
But that was proof that YouTube was actually good advertisement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so this episode, I guess we're going to kind of recover a little bit of the Simon Harris years and how me and you worked together, our relationship then, now. It's kind of transpired over the years.
Yeah.
The one story I always like to tell on Josh, I'm sure he's got plenty on me. He's going to get
This is dangerous.
I know, it's so much fun.
I am looking forward to this podcast.
So, anyways, we were out in Vegas.
Oh no! I knew you were going to go to Vegas.
We were out in Vegas at the World of Concrete one year. He's walking around telling everybody we're partners. I'm pulling this sign like, dude, you got to put business behind partners. Yeah. I'm getting some funny looks back here. Like, nothing against that, but we need to clear this up,
Yeah.
Guilty conscience.
Well, I mean, he would tell me, yeah, we're partners, and then he'd walk on, maybe looking at me like, I'm like, no, business partners.
Yeah, I got caught doing that a lot.
That's all right.
Yeah, with my
Whatever
friends
gets the
and
business, right?
That's not the business we're in.
Not quite what we were going for. Well, we had a lot of runs. We would go to Vegas like 8-9 years in a row.
Yeah, we went to Vegas a few times. The first year you went by yourself because I was like, I don't know what he's doing.
He's like, that's a waste of
frankly, that's when we were like working off of my table, and
Yep.
we
Didn't have
didn't
an
have the
office.
cash to go.
No.
And then the second year, you were as sick as a dog.
Oh, yes, he drugged me. Oh, my God.
This is a true story. He was as sick as a dog.
Before we get too far into this, because we're going to hear about it in the comments, you guys got to stop banging on the table.
I'm sorry.
I'm hearing a bass drum.
Should I put my drink down here too?
You can do whatever. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so this come back to bite him in the butt.
Well, he was talking. Go ahead. I got to mediate this.
Oh yeah. So this is how we go back and forth and we correct each other. It's fun. He's supposed to be at my house shortly. We're going to Vegas for the first time. It's my first time. We were going to World of Concrete.
His first time going to Vegas.
First time Vegas, first time World of Concrete. So I've never been to that conference, and he kind of already been there and scoped things out the year before. So he gives me a call, like we're supposed to be heading to the airport, and he's like, "Man, I can't. I'm on the John. I can't get
I
off
was
the
sicker than like this.
I'm
is the
throwing
sickest
up
I've been
this
in
and
a
that."
long time.
And I said, "Get to my house." I said, "I'm gonna put you in the truck. I'll drive to Louisville." I said, just get in the plane. And that was my mantra. Do you remember that?
Yeah, just get in the plane. He was convinced once I got in the plane there was no turning back. So I remember this. We had to fly into Detroit for a layover. And we landed on one side of the airport, and we had to fly on the other side of the airport. And I hit every bathroom across that airport.
I was going to say, but according to FAA laws, he's kind of right. Once you get on the plane, there's no turning back.
That was the most miserable flight.
And I thought we were safe because we didn't sit next to each other.
Yeah, so he's like laughing at people sitting next to me in the back of the plane.
And then the end of that story, and where he's saying they bit me in the butt, was that
because he was sick on the way home.
Well, actually, it wasn't on the way home. It was before we even left. That last day, we went out to eat at one place, and I was just like, I excused myself.
I was secretly over there throwing a little party inside.
And then Josh came in behind me, and I was in the stall throwing up, and then came back out, and he told the tables, I don't know who's in there, somebody sicker than a dog. And they're like, oh no, it's
Josh was in the party with us. So. But yeah, we had a good time. So I just want to hit on a little bit of the business of Simon Harris. So everybody knows me now as being in the excavating business, which is we basically started our business in the recession.
Yeah,
and whenever I first got started, I couldn't afford to be in the excavating business the way I wanted to, and that kind of led me into the ICF route. Mm-hmm. Which where I'm going with this is whenever we were in business, that was kind of our bread and butter was the ICF.
It was
ICF industry, and covered this a little bit in the last podcast over the lifestyle of being self-employed, but. The way we worked is I didn't like being in the office, and you didn't really care to be on the job.
Right.
So you were the guy that were out doing sales, doing the bidding, taking care of the books, managing the office. We did have an intern and a full-time secretary when we were up and running.
Yeah, it took a while to get there, though.
Yeah, it took a while to get there.
It was
and
off my
then,
kitchen table.
At one time, what did we have? I think the most we ever had was 10 or 11 guys working. So we'd have 3 or 4 houses going at a time.
I think we topped out at probably, I don't know, one time, and counting summer help, probably we were 11, 12.
Yeah, because my role was, I didn't really get to work a whole lot because I was just managing, whether it be managing people, managing subs, in the middle or the heyday years, I guess. And our bread and butter was building custom homes, high-end custom homes, I'd even say.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not how it started.
No, I mean, you can elaborate on that.
I mean, starting out, looking back, would you tell 2 guys in their late 20s in the middle of the Great Recession, hey, why don't you get into a home building business? My friends were coming to me.
I guess that is a good thing to point out is I was 25 and you were 26 because you're a year older than me, right?
Oh, we were older than that.
Well, I started Simon C&E whenever I was 25.
Yeah.
So
in 2008, I was about 27.
27, okay. A year off.
I'm sorry.
A year off.
Sorry.
I'm just...
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. We were in the late 20s.
I mean, you were bald then, but...
I was bald then. I just was in denial.
I'm just tickled with the fact that we found somebody who's just like you and can give you back.
Well, hold on. I don't take that as a compliment. I can give it back?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're like that.
Yeah. So, okay,
it was insane. We had very little capital.
None.
We using Grandpa's barn.
Yep.
And he let us use that for free. And he complained for a while and we tried to straighten it up.
I was down there today looking for an office chair, and I seen some old rebar corbels down there from the bricklayers. I was thinking, damn, there's a blast from the past.
Yeah. I don't know how we got accounts at some of our vendors.
Well, I had some of them established.
Oh, that's right.
From being the Simon C&E staff.
Yeah.
I remember, which helped us at least get the foot in the door, but I mean, we kind of built from there. And I struggled for a long time to get my first house to build, and I got my first house, which was a friend of mine's, Josh. And then that snowballed into another house, and then it kind of took off a little bit. Mm-hmm. And when we built like 2 or 3 houses back to back, we thought we had this dog whooped, and then we went like 6 months with nothing.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because
for me, I was always looking at the crystal ball. Like I was working on stuff that was going to happen 6 months from now. So for me, it looked different in my world,
right.
You know. But yeah, that was wild. I can't believe we...
Looking back on it, it's crazy.
It was. I mean, I wanted to move back home. We knew it was about time for us to start a family, so we were looking to move back home. And yeah, I think actually my brother kind of...
Yep. The previous employer I had, his brother was my helper, and he's the one. Of course, you were a year ahead of me in high school.
Yes.
And we knew each other, but we didn't, like, we knew who each other was, but that was about it. And his brother was the one that kind of got us talking about it.
And I'll say that I think there's different ideas about partnerships and make partnerships work and fail. And we're friends now. We are friends.
Yeah.
But when we entered into our partnership, we were not friends.
No.
I mean, we were friendly.
Right.
But
we had no prior relationship.
No, we were at the best acquaintances. And this guy back home is thinking about doing this crazy business about...
Well, yeah, because I brought ICF to you, and I know your first impressions on it weren't the greatest. Then you got to study on it a little bit, and you thought, there might be something here. And
never heard of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I was in the... I'd been in the manufactured housing industry, and
which is, I mean, they're two extreme...
Yeah.
Two extreme end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I was working for a big corporation, and...
My whole love affair with ICF in the beginning is it was different.
And before you get too far down your love affair of ICF.
Oh, come on now. Me and ICF, we're like...
I know. I don't want to interrupt too much of it now, but we are supposed to have another podcast with Josh back on.
Yeah, so we'll hope to have Josh back on. We're going to cover energy efficient housing and pros and cons of ICF and building envelopes and that's a whole nother...
So anybody listening to this now could potentially... leave comments with questions.
Oh, you're good at this.
Yeah, and send an email to us at a few
He's just
points
not pretty face at the table.
That's right.
So, anyways, ICF, I couldn't make money. I couldn't make enough money excavating to make ends meet. This thing ICF intrigued me because I thought it was a really cool system and nobody else was doing it. So I kind of started going down that road, which ended up being good for us. And that's probably the...
Oh, yeah, it was good for us.
I mean, I don't want to answer this question for you, but that was probably the one thing that got you to consider to come into business with me was ICF after you've seen it and kind of believing in it yourself. Yeah,
I mean, and there's a lot of good home builders, but, a lot of home
What sets you apart?
What sets you apart? We're a family-owned home builder. Well, so is that guy, and so is that, and there's a lot of good, home, but what sets you apart? And these crazy dudes in their late 20s, in the middle of a recession, are building houses out of concrete. And that is so dumb. Let's check them out. And that's, so yeah, it definitely set us apart. And people thought for the longest time, we refused to build stick frame.
Yeah.
Even our vendors who are selling us ICF were surprised by that. But we were kind of like, we need to differentiate ourselves in the market.
And we can get to this later, but hindsight being 2020, we maybe should have stuck with that. But that's a whole nother podcast there.
Did you get into building stick frames?
We built a few.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
at the end, we started in the middle, we started, just saying, it's more than ICF. We know about energy efficient construction.
Yeah.
And so... we got a really sweet deal on a spray foam rig, frankly.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
There was a lot of different variables into that. I don't know a good way to explain that over a podcast, but we built, I know of 2 stick frame houses we built. Did we build any more? How many houses do you think we built? Close to 100?
we built 3 stick frame houses.
Okay. I can't think of the third one, which is fine, but we built a lot of houses.
Yeah. And one of them was with a gentleman who owned a spray foam rig. Who owned the spray foam rig that we used? Is that the one you forgot about?
Which was the whole reason why we. Yeah. So
and they're good homes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
they're really good homes.
I didn't go out as far as say they're some of the best stick frame homes in this area. It just wasn't our forte. It wasn't our specialty. It wasn't what we were known for. It wasn't what we were good at. There was less of the job we could do in house. We had to sub more out. There was more out of our control. There's just a lot more variables involved that we weren't.
And I'll just say, I was the salesman. There's more competition.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I keep touching the table.
That's all right.
So
you
smack me when I do it. There was more competition. If you wanted an ICF home in this region, you were going to call 2 folks.
Yeah.
And we were the ones.
We were the ones that. I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant when I say this, but we were the ones that started the ICF home industry in our local region. I would say. Whenever we started in the ICF world, there was like 2 ICF houses in our county that I knew of.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got that information.
Were they basements or? I thought we were the guys who started
You're correct. They were just basements, and I got that information from. One of them was it because we ended up building across from his neighbor,
That's correct.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That was the
Tiger.
Tiger was his name.
Good dude.
That was the first one, and the other one was a basement. So whenever we started in this, there was maybe 3 houses that had ICF in them in our county. And we started doing it and having some success with it, and some other guys started doing it and having some success with it. And then Betts Brothers, which was a couple counties north of us, they were started doing the same thing up there and having it. So between the two of us, we made it known what it was and showed the benefits of it. And that's when our business really kind of took off. So
yeah. We were definitely unique in that we were building ICF houses from the footer to the rafter.
Yeah. And then we were able to prove the benefits of that.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to backpedal just a touch and actually explain what ICF is.
I thought we were doing the next episode.
Yeah, but it's going to completely be
I'm sorry.
Generic explanation.
Yeah.
Insulated concrete forms. They are big boy foam Lego blocks.
Yeah, that's what I know to describe
that
them.
you fill full of rebar and then fill full of concrete.
And you'll build an entire house out of this, minus the rafters.
I mean, yeah, the exterior walls of the home are all built with this.
Yeah.
Super energy efficient, super strong. Concrete don't burn like wood does. And
thermal bridges. I mean, there's just
termites don't eat concrete.
Yeah, the list of it's the old adage: you get what you pay for. Yeah, it costs a little bit more, but you get so much more in return. So if you figure that out,
if you get us talking about ICF, we're going to keep going. Do you want to keep talking about ICF?
Yeah,
no, that'll be the next
we're
one.
We're both very passionate about ICF.
Yeah.
So back to the Simon Harris business. So whenever we started off, you were working off your kitchen table. It was me and basically 2 guys. There was, and you weren't full time in the office at that point. You were out on the job quite a bit as well.
I was running a painting company. Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, I had Johs Harris painting.
But if we had an ICF job going, you were out stocking block. You were out helping us pour.
Oh yeah, they get so frustrated with me.
Yeah,
they would.
We're still not sure if he was helping or not, but he was out there.
I wasn't much help.
Why is that?
That's just not my. That's not my. I mean, I'll let Michael speak to that. That's not my bag. I'm not.
One thing I told Josh is, and I knew whenever me and Josh went into business together that he wasn't the hands-on guy out in the field.
Right.
But I thought it was important for him to at least be out there to see how it went together. So whenever he was selling it, he was knowledgeable about our processes and what we did. Because I could tell him about it all day long, but unless he's actually there doing it.
I feel the exact same way, but not so much from the sales aspect as from the estimating aspect.
Well,
wow, this is taking a lot longer than I thought to do this aspect of the job. And this little product, the piece of the project that's, costing a lot of time and material or whatever, we need to find a different way or figure that into the bid.
So you got a full hands-on understanding of the entire process.
Yeah.
And that consequently
I'd say everything we did at Simon Harris at one point or another, he was part of actually doing it on the job,
I mean, I've been in I've saw in the corporate world, and where the guys making all decisions are so far removed from what's happening on the ground that they're having a hard time understanding why the numbers are coming out the way they're coming out. I feel like if I, stayed in touch with the project, I knew like, okay, this takes longer. I need to bid accordingly. That was real simple, and the guys knocked it out, and we're making good money on that. So let's do more of that.
And that's one thing Josh was excellent at was tracking those costs and expenses and knowing where we're making money out on the house, where we're losing money out on the house, where we're breaking even at. And that kind of takes us back to ICF. That was our biggest profit margin on the house. So if we could just hammer out ICF, that's what we were good at. That's it's what we were known for. And sometimes you had to do the other stuff to get the ICF part, but that's what he come into play, is figuring out how we can make that all work together. So. But I'm kind of going through the timeline here of Simon Harris. So we get together. I guess basically the conversation, the way I remember it is I had my business. I didn't really want to sell my business or let you into that. So I said, hey, we'll start.
I had no money to buy that business.
So I said, well, let's just start a business from scratch, which is what we did, which is where Simon Harris come into play at. So the first, 2-3 years, we ran a pretty lean ship. You're working off your kitchen table. I was working out of my shop here, basically. We were borrowing and stealing to get by. We finally started catching a little bit of traction. I guess it's about the 3rd year. And that's when we bought the property where the Derby Market's at now. Yep. And the other building on that property, which I think it's in some of my early videos, was our office. And that was the old scale house for a quarter. Whenever we bought this thing, The roof was fell in. The floor was collapsed.
I didn't want to go see it. Michael said, "Hey, you come to," and I'm like, "No, I ain't looking."
Josh was like a hard no.
I wasn't a hard no. I was a no. And here's what broke me though, is because it was one of the best. It was one of the best business decisions we ever made. But I had a crying. We had a baby,
right?
And it's crying in our 2-bedroom 1-bath house, and I'm on our kitchen table, and I'm like, yeah, let's go look at that place with the roof caving in. I mean,
well, the other part
an
of
office sounds good.
Yeah, well, the other part of that is he had a family now. I was getting ready to have a family, and it's not as simple just to drop in to go over a spreadsheet or something. We needed a mutual meeting point, and we
used your home mailbox as our address.
Yeah, and we had, we were getting more and more traction, so we needed a place to meet with customers.
Right.
So, yeah, that was kind of a slow remodel process. We got the downstairs done and moved on the upstairs. And then I guess for 5 to 7 years in there, we kind of, I don't want to say we were on autopilot, but we were pretty much cranking out houses, doing our thing. But we never really made the money we thought we should be making. We made more money working off your kitchen table than we ever did working on that office. Well, being small time, how do you want to explain that? I don't know how. I think you know what I'm trying to say.
I know exactly what you're trying to say. We exactly. Where's escape me? We had trouble scaling.
Yes, that's
you were our number one producer in the field. I was our number one producer in the office, but I was only in the office until Deanna came along. Right. But still, I was the estimator, so And your role changed a lot. Because when we were doing one house, and look at our margins on one house.
Mike's there, part of the crew.
Yeah. What if we had 2 houses? That's double the income. And I think at the end we realized we could probably do 2 houses at a time.
So let's do 20.
Well, we never went to 20 at a time. We were doing significantly more.
The most we ever had going at one time was 4, or maybe a 5th one in there for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm. And Mike went from being the guy. I mean, remember the days when we were building Gravy's house, whenever we didn't have to say which job, it was like, hey, we need the job box here. Well, I knew where here meant,
Right. Or it was hey, for materials, you know what I mean?
Yeah, how much ICF do we have there? Well, we knew where there was. Mm-hmm. And whenever that grew, Michael's job changed from being on-site foreman to project manager of multiple projects. Yeah. And we had a good crew. We had a good crew.
My time was no longer billable on the job. It was a dead expense of managing.
Yeah.
We both were managers in the company.
Yeah. And we had a good crew, don't get me wrong. I don't know what to say except for we had a hard time scaling.
That's probably the best way to put it is we were too small for the 2 of us, and we never could get big enough to justify both of our times the way we wanted to justify. Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah.
It's kind of like what we talked about with Farmer Chris and our farmers in an acre. You know what I mean? It's like 2 guys can farm 2,000 acres and make good money and work their butts off, but 3 guys can't farm 3,000 acres and make money because there's so many other. It's like you either got to farm 2,000 acres or you got to farm 5,000 acres. Well, with us, it's either you built 2 houses or you had to build 15 houses because our revenue went through the roof. But our profit margin didn't.
And you're not going to edit this at all?
No.
Okay, I will say it. I remember the day that I don't want to boast, but I remember a day when our revenue number hit a number that I always dreamed our revenue number.
Yeah, $1 million.
$1 million in a year. Mm-hmm. That was revenue. And I remember feeling bad that I had to call Michael to tell him that because revenue, woo! Oh, yeah. Cost followed, baby. Yeah. And we're looking at each other like.
That's one of the years we made the least amount of money.
Yeah, we're making money. Like everybody's eating.
Yeah,
everybody went on vacation. Yeah. Kids went to Holiday World.
Well, I don't think it's out of line to have a number in your head that you would want to have as far as owning a company, because when you own the company, it becomes your next child.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It was a kid to us.
You're devoting more time than someone walking in, clocking in. You deserve to get compensated for that.
And when we hit that number, and I was like, but I'm looking at the P&L and I'm looking at the cost. I'm like, man. The bottom number didn't grow nearly as fast as the top number did. And
they weren't proportional.
Part of that, though, too, is you think about how far, because we're in a very isolated area. I mean, we're surrounded by Hoosier National Forest.
Yeah.
We were driving very far.
Yeah, we were traveling up to 3 hours for jobs.
Yeah. And, it would be different if we're like in a metropolis where, you know, you're just across town, or, you know, we started to travel quite a bit. And so your project managing was like a lot of road time.
Yeah.
I mean, going from Corydon to Santa Claus, you know, I'll never forget the day I went all the way to Corydon and got to the door and realized there was not a key there. And I had to go all the way back to Derby, get the key, come all the way back to Corydon.
Which is about a 2-hour round trip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My day was, you know, half my day was shot.
So I think, I remember that year we hit $1 million revenue, and the profit wasn't where we thought it was. And that's when we decided we were going to start trying different variations of this. So, you know, I think one variation is we were going to do less stuff in-house and sub more stuff out. And I'm trying to remember some of the other variations. You know, we were going to try to get me back with tools in my hands and less managing. And over the course of the next, 3 years, we probably tried 2 or 3 different models of our business. Would you say that was correct?
Yeah, that is true. We always had a good team. I'm not trying to say that.
It had absolutely nothing to do with the people we were working with. We were probably very fortunate to have some really good employees along the way. Mm-hmm. But it goes back to scaling. I think that's the best way to put it. We couldn't find a way to scale it profitably. Mm-hmm. And people tried to get us to move to different markets. Yeah. Remember, they tried to get us to move to Oklahoma. Remember that? Yep. We had a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, after trying, let's just say 4 different variations of scaling and doing different things, building, you know, I think at one time we were building close to 10 houses a year, and then we scaled back to maybe 3 houses a year. And we tried a bunch of different things. I think at some point we kind of decided the writing was on the wall of we were both comfortable. We tried every way we knew how, and something was going to have to change. How do you want to put that into words?
I would say that we could have kept building 3 houses a year and been fine, but that's not what we thought.
But that's not what
that's not what we started out for.
Right.
We could have been fine and had a nice little life.
We could have made a good living with that, provided for our families, but that wasn't your goal or my goal, either one.
And then I think life happened, and we had other interests. I mean, you were always the happiest playing in the dirt.
Still am.
I mean, that's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
You were. I mean, that was where you found your most joy. You know, the most fun. I got involved.
Well, that was my passion from.
I'm sorry for.
I don't know. I'm not hearing it, so it's okay.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. No, I still didn't hear it.
Everybody in the comments will let them know.
I'm sure they'll hear it.
But no, to your point, you know, even back in the beginning when I wanted to get started, that's what I wanted to do, was be in the excavating business. Yeah. But it just didn't.
And I'm not putting that on you. I got more involved with church.
And
life was just taking us in different directions. We had new interest. We looked at other interests, frankly. Yeah. We talked about it. We got into real estate investing, which honestly was very profitable.
Yeah, that was probably, we diversified ourselves in some investment properties. And I wouldn't say it was a home run, but it probably, I don't know if saved our butts the right word, but it would end up being a nice little backup insurance policy or an offsetting of some other issues.
I would say that, I think real estate I mean, as a team, we could go in and size up a piece of property, and
it worked very well with what we had going into time.
Yeah, it did.
It is the best way to. So to sum it all up, first off, with the Simon Harris, it's not like we went bankrupt. It's not like we weren't.
Oh no, we just kind of decided to walk away.
It's not like we weren't profitable. We just weren't meeting the goals we had set for ourselves. Yeah. Was really the only failure we had in the business. Would you say that?
I would never use the word failure. People have. We had a decent business with a good reputation. Yes. We had a good business with a good reputation for 10 years. Life took us in different directions. Did we meet the goals that those 27-year-olds, you know, I thought we would have offices in Evansville and Louisville. Yeah. Did we do that?
That was our big scale plan, was to franchise it.
Yeah.
Was kind of what we had in mind.
And at the end, I mean, when those 27-year-olds wanted to get the phone calls that we were getting in our mid-30s. Like, those clients were calling us. We're at the top of their list, and we were getting those phone calls. But
we were sought after for high-end projects.
We were sought out. Yes, that's a good way of saying it. But we were just like, you know, you felt life was taking you a different direction. I felt life was taking me in a different direction, and the goals that those 27-year-olds had, we weren't going to start an office in Louisville or
no,
Evansville.
that was quite apparent that direction.
And so we were like,
not, Which, to go back to our different methods we tried, I mean, it's not like we didn't try to do that. It just the opportunity never came to make it work.
Yeah.
And it was quite clear that opportunity probably wasn't going to come.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to point out, I think one of our biggest accomplishments as Simon Harris Construction is we did win 2 international awards for our work.
Whoop, whoop.
Which, I mean,
I don't know why I even bother to write these things. You guys are just hitting all the points anyway.
So
international.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
So where were those houses?
I'll let you elaborate and explain what those were.
Many thanks to Diane Gravy. They were the first folks. No, they weren't the first folks.
So what we won was, explain what the award is. What we won was an Icf Builder Award.
What was it? What was the technical award?
Icf Builder Award.
Yeah, but they had different categories.
So we were in. We won. The one we won was in.
Large residential, was that it, or medium size?
Yeah, large residential.
It was a residential.
Large residential and then unlimited residential.
You remember better than me.
Yeah.
But that was the first house that people really were like, "Oh, Josh and Michael." When we built the Gravy's house.
That was probably the first high-end home we built.
Well, that was the first house that I think a lot of our friends were like, maybe Josh and Michael aren't crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have a business.
So it just takes an international
And you know what? A big part of that, talking about differentiating, and I'm not talking down about any of the other builders in our area. We were very proficient in email and sending PDFs.
That's a good point, because whenever we started into business, which was 12 years ago now, roughly from today.
2009, February 2009, we formed our LLC.
So yeah, about 12 years ago. Mostly Josh, less me, but he was very efficient with a computer and email and texting and all that. And all of our builders we were competing with were guys in their 50s and 60s, which most of them were either retired or not in business no more. And we had a new technology, which usually got smarter, more educated people. I don't mean that.
People who felt more comfortable with technology.
Right. And how many contracts did you sign and never even meet the customer?
Significant.
Yeah.
Significant.
Which, I mean, thinking about these old school guys, that was unheard of.
Right.
And there was a lot of times that we never even met the customer until we rolled up on the job site when we first day to start.
There were some times I didn't meet them until we did sign the contract.
We're here to build you a house.
But one of those first, the Gravy home that we won our first award on, her children, I mean, because she had good options, and a lot of our local builders could have built her a wonderful house. Mm-hmm. Their primary residence was in Ohio, and they were going to be there during this build. Well, I could email her pictures of how's going on, and I think her kids were like, Diane told me, I don't know if I've told you this, Diane told me, I think it was her daughter said, go with the young guys. They can communicate with you while they're gone. And they rolled the dice on us.
Yeah.
And
that house was definitely a turning point for our business.
So then I found out about the first few years we went to the World of Concrete. We went to the show, and it was our dream to one day even be like a nominee. Mm-hmm. And then we built their house, and I'm like, gee whiz, you think? Well, Diane, bless her heart, like it was a grant writer or something.
Yeah, which is the homeowner.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, Diane, would you be interested? Like, here's what we need to submit. And she's like, I'll get right back to you.
She did an awesome job.
Submitted it, and we came in second place.
So they submit. How this works is they submit projects from all around the world, and they're narrowed down to 5. And then they have a big banquet in Vegas, and then they pick the top 3. And we got second in, I think it was large residential, which you got to think, I don't know how many, I'm sure there's thousands of projects.
Was it or was it small residential? I can't remember.
Crash cost was unlimited.
It was
in the residential world, because they have they got small, large, and unlimited maybe, and then they also did it for commercial projects.
Okay.
Because so that was the first one, which that got us a lot of. I mean, that got our name out there quite a bit. I wouldn't say we got a lot of jobs off of it, but it definitely got our name known in the industry. Like we were.
People talked to us at booths then at the World Cup. Yeah. They did talk to us every time.
Yeah, as far as the industry goes, like other block manufacturers and other people in the industry, they knew who we were at that point. So I guess then it was 4 or 5 years later we won our second one, which we only submitted for 2. So
Yeah, what was
Maybe
that?
that's where you went wrong.
Yeah, I should have kept going.
Yeah.
That was the Kraskoff house.
And Diane wrote that one too.
And Diane did write that one too. But that was probably our most ambitious project we took on at Simon Harris. It was about a 17,000 square foot house.
I don't know if we ever got a technical square footage because I think the project grew.
My favorite,
I tend to tell people it was 15,000 square feet house. Has he sold that house? It's for sale.
Yeah, it's gone. It's sold.
Oh, it's sold?
Yeah,
good for him.
I talked to him the other day. He's up in Indy. But my favorite story from this house is we built this house, and the whole house is ICF, all right? And it's got this huge 4-bay garage that gets added on. It's actually stick framed. So we get the house up, it's on the roof, and then we decide to go out and start building the garage. So we get it all framed up and get it in the roof. And there's this bonus room. It's probably like 2,000 square feet above this garage. And the homeowner walks in there. He's like, wow, I didn't see this room on the plans.
Well, crap.
And I should say, this homeowner was probably one of the best guys we ever worked for.
He was so chill. He was cool.
He was awesome. I still talk to him on a regular basis. But I think that was an unlimited one, and which is the big boy class. You know, that's where all the $1 million homes are at. I'll say it.
Right.
And we ended up getting runner-up in that, too.
Did we get runner-up or third place?
We got runner-up. I'm pretty sure we got runner-up. I got them up there on my desk. I'll have to go look, but let's just stick to the point we won an award.
Okay. We won an award.
We don't have to say which place.
International.
We won an award. You just leave the place out.
Yeah.
It's not like a race, you know.
This plaque on the wall says we're good at this.
But that's I'm proud of a lot of things we did at Simon Harris. We did a bunch of projects. We never have counted how many houses we built. I'd say it's close to 100.
Oh, there's 100.
I got 70-something stick pins on that map from the office.
You got the map up there?
Yeah, that's just in Perry County.
Well, you're probably getting really close to 100.
So that would be my guess. Over the course of 10 years, that's 10 houses a year.
You know, I don't.
Time gets away. It's crazy.
It does. I mean, and all the what I call the smaller jobs in there. Are you considering all the smaller any ICF job? Is that what you're considering?
Well, yeah, I guess that is true. It'd be we always stick pin in ICF jobs, not necessarily.
Okay. That may be. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
You know, a guy should probably keep track of that kind of thing.
Which we got.
We did have a map. We had a map. We just,
records maybe.
That was his job. That wasn't my job.
I had Deanna do it. Yeah. So she was great. Deanna was awesome.
4 years ago, which house were you guys building? Yeah. Well, I think it was the Blue Pins.
So I guess after, I guess it was 2 years ago now. We basically had a transition year. Like we made the decision that this was going to be our last year. We had contracts to fulfill.
We were strongly considering it. I'll say that. We were definitely, there for a while. We were starting to flip houses, and
we really wanted to get into the spec home market.
We did,
but our area just didn't. We never built the same house twice, and rightfully so. Customers always want to make changes to their house when they build, and it's hard to. That takes a lot of labor and time to manage. With a spec home, you get option A, B, or C. And you build the same house twice. I've always said if I could build the same house twice, I could do it cheaper the second time.
So you're talking layout, not the same physical house.
Yes. Okay. The same floor plan.
Yeah.
But we just, with our area here, with our markets, real estate market, I guess I would say, we would have to probably do that an hour away from home base here. And it just, we never found a feasible opportunity here.
We would have to change the way, and we looked at it a lot. We would have to change the way we build homes.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with spec homes that are being built around here, but the way we did it, we would have to change the way we were building homes.
Yeah, we went for 100% quality and efficiency versus how cheap can you build square footage? I don't know.
Right.
We just become, I guess in a lot of ways we became stuck in our ways.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to change.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say it's not that we didn't want to have our name on it, but it wasn't us. Like that's what it wasn't who you was, it wasn't who I was, and it wasn't what we wanted to be known for. So with all that being said,
as I looked at the margins.
Yeah, we'd have to build 20 houses.
The table again.
We'd have to build 20 houses to do the same thing we were doing off 5 or 6.
It was going to be a different business model.
Yeah.
And we weren't We strongly looked at it.
Going back to our previous conversation, we had tried many different avenues and they hadn't worked, and we just decided not to go down that avenue because we kind of knew from past experience where we might end up at.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of a transition year. We had contracts we needed to fulfill. We had some jobs we needed to get done. You started gearing up, doing your thing. Can I say what you're doing now? Is that all right?
Yeah.
You took a full-time job in ministry.
Part-time job.
Part-time job at the church.
Yeah. Well, I was doing as a volunteer for over 4 years.
Yeah, what you were doing the whole time.
And it's kind of grew, so.
And then, and now you're also director of our local Habitat chapter.
Yep. Habitat for Humanity.
I decided to go back into the excavating business, which pretty much the excavating business full-time. As you guys know from the YouTube channel, I do still do some ICF, but it's not what I go out. It's not the work I go out and search for. It's just contractors we've worked for in the past, doing some work for them.
Have you done any from the footer to the rafter ICF?
I have not. Actually, the only one I've done on YouTube from the footer to the rafter is your edition.
Is that the last one we did?
That's the last one we did. That was the last Simon Harris pour we did was your edition. Now, I do have one in Corden that I'm going to do probably the first of the year.
I thought one of those ones for over in Spencer County we did after mine.
Nope.
Mine the last one?
Yours was the last one. Your pour was the last ICF pour for Simon Harris.
You're probably right. I hate to say that.
And then at some point, someone's moving out here and they need a house built.
So I guess where I'm going with all this is we were in business for 10 years together, and I think one thing that's important to point out is we still got the same relationship now, or probably a better relationship with them now than what we did when we got started.
Well, I feel like we're better friends now.
Yeah.
When we started, it was a business relationship. I mean, we want to talk about partnerships and how that works at all, or what do you want to talk?
You can go wherever you want to with this. I want to kind of get where we're at now, and then we'll get into. I'm sure you got some stories about. One thing I want to cover is I don't know what your take would be on this, but our biggest fight, our biggest argument we ever had.
It was right here.
Yeah, I know. I think it's the same one.
And one of our employees, after I left, said, "I need to find another job."
I think there's a lesson to be learned from that fight too. But anyways, but no, I mean, now you made me forget where we were at. That's a talent. That is a talent. That's pretty good right there.
Well, I want to go on to Josh's point though about partnerships.
Okay.
So get in more into that, the dynamics of it.
I've got a lot of thoughts on partnerships and how they work
with business in front of it.
Yeah.
Business partnerships.
Yeah, he would say that and just keep walking, and then the people who say they just like stare at me and size me up as I went by. I didn't think you were start leading this, or we got to put some more adjectives in front of that. So.
When we started our business partnership, and I almost keep saying partnership. I'm sorry. I remember Glenda Gogol was a big help to us.
Yeah, she was our banker.
She was our banker, and she set us down.
Yeah,
and it's like, you boys don't need to go into partnership. You don't need to be partners. Partnerships are hard, and you might lose a friendship. And I think me and you kind of looked at each other like, we're not friends. I mean,
I don't like him.
Which was true. I mean, I know you said this joking, but it was true. But I think the flip side of that is, I don't know if either one of us had anything to lose.
Oh yeah, I was moving back. I was painting. Nothing. I mean, that put food on the table. Nothing wrong with painting.
It's not like you were coming in with $1 million and I was coming in with nothing, or vice versa.
Oh yeah.
It's like we were equal. We were entering on equal level.
What else we gonna do?
Which was the basement. It's like. Either we go up together or we, it kind of was what it was, I guess.
And the thing about partnerships is, what is your lane in the partnership? I was the business side of.
Like the preacher now.
Well, he's pretty good at it.
I was the business side of things, and you were production. There wasn't two guys doing production.
No, yeah.
Because if there's two guys in the same place at the same time, what's the point in having a partnership?
And I would say that's probably one reason why we were as successful as what we were, is because we knew where we belonged and what we did.
People would call me, "Hey, is Michael there with you?" Well, no, Michael's not here with me. He's out. I don't know where Michael is right now.
He's doing what Michael.
And I get the same thing. Josh coming out today? Well, why would he come out?
Yeah. Remember a time when I don't know? Do you know the story about whenever you guys were setting trusses on Brett's house?
Brett Kraskoff's? No.
Yeah. Okay, this is funny. So he started talking to me about construction.
Brett is?
Yeah. So remember
Brett's
how those trusses like had one piece and another piece went on top of it?
Yeah, piggybacks.
Yeah, piggybacks. That's what we call them.
My point exactly.
I knew how much they cost.
I knew that as well. Don't worry.
Yeah, I know how much they cost.
Yeah.
And I remember Brett, like you guys are like getting the crane and it's all business, you know, and I'm standing over there taking pictures. You know, that's what we had.
Going on MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace. Brett's trying to talk to me about it. I'm like, yeah, how about that? You know, trying to give him answers of some nature. And finally he asked me how something worked, and I looked at him and said, he said, now how do those trusses, you know, go together, this and that? And finally I looked at him and said, Brett, I don't know. How does a laptop go together, dude? And he just looks at me, and I look at him. Thank God he started laughing. So anyhow, the point is we had different responsibilities. A lot of times I see guys like, hey, you're a good carpenter, I'm a good carpenter, let's start a business together. Yeah. And maybe that does work. My question is, why do you need two of them?
I couldn't go into business with myself, I know that much.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that means.
I don't know.
If there was somebody just like me, there's no way we'd be able to be business partners like you and I were.
Oh yeah. Same way. I mean, you know, and we respected each other's lanes, and we were always in communication. And I'd have questions, I'd make suggestions, and same way from that direction. But we had different responsibilities. I think some partnerships just needs to be one owner, and your buddies just are really well paid. You know,
right.
I would also say that probably one thing that never came up in our 10 years of business is like, you trusted me or I trusted you.
Yeah.
I mean, that was never a question mark of whether Josh is laundering money or you know, creaming off the top here, or this, that, or the other. That's probably the biggest underlying foundation we had for everything we did.
There was a lot of trust. There was never a, you know, well, I noticed you went to Florida for 2 days longer than I went to Florida.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
So.
Or you weren't counting the hours I worked. I didn't count the hours you worked. It was,
you know, I noticed, you know, I mean.
He had a job to do. I had a job to do.
And that happens for sure.
Yeah.
That's not far-fetched at all.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how much you can launder money.
But to your point, the trust and then everybody knowing their job, I guess you call it a job within the partnership or their lane, was a big deal.
Because people try to go into business with us. Remember that?
Yeah. And we tried to buy out other businesses.
Yeah. And you know, I remember one of the gentlemen and a good dude, you know, he wanted it in, and we were like, you know, what are you going to contribute, you know? And
well, back to your point is we knew what you did, you knew what I did, and we couldn't fit him into the puzzle.
He wanted to do what I did.
Yeah.
Was that fair to say?
Yeah.
And we're like, well, I'm already doing that, so.
Right. And my name's on the sign, so sorry.
Yeah, it's. But I'll tell you what, I will say this. Knowing everything I know now, I'd probably still do it all over again because
for sure.
The relationships and the things we learned, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today without doing that.
It provided a good living for us. I mean, I know your last one you acted like we were poor. I mean, you know, there are real poor people in the world, and you know, we're blessed to not be one of them.
Yeah, no, it was a unique experience. It was a learning experience, and it was a good experience.
So in the 10 years or so that you were in business, would you guys both consider that this was a successful business venture?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't close down bankrupt. I mean, we had money in our pocket at the end of it.
Yeah.
Me and him are still friends.
Yeah.
I mean, our name is still well known and recognized.
It was a good run. It served its purpose at the time it did, and I have no regrets. It was good.
We didn't meet the goals we set out for ourselves. Other than that, we were 100% successul.
And
which
we might have been naive on the kind of goals that we had. I don't know if naive is the word, but we were ambitious.
I shouldn't say we didn't meet the goals. I think we seen the projections where we were going, and we knew if we stayed out for another 10 years, neither one of us was going to get there. And we were smart enough to say, you know, what's the definition of insanity? He's doing the same thing over and over again, expect a different result. You know, we kind of knew it was time to change.
And the labor, the work, the stress of owning that type of a business was real. It can be pretty high.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yep.
So
and there was a bunch of different things kind of working on us at the same time, and I wouldn't say there was one straw that broke the camel's back, but finally it's enough's enough. You know what I mean? It's like everybody deserves to be happy in life. Everybody deserves to do what they want to do, and it was time. It was time.
You asked a question about our biggest disagreement. Are we out of time? Are you closing up? Is that what you're doing?
No, not at all. I'm trying to hit a few points
before
we get into
the biggest disagreement. I got a question for Josh, and I've never asked him this before, and it's not as crazy as you think it is.
I just got here.
So I started YouTube. Technically, the last year you and I were in business together.
Okay.
And I don't think I told you I was doing YouTube for about the first maybe 4 or 5 months.
I don't know because you didn't tell me that. So, I mean,
valid point.
He didn't know I was doing YouTube until somebody called him.
Somebody called me?
Well, one of my fans off your number on the side of my truck. Remember the first half of this video?
That's not how I found out. No, I knew you had. Well, Logger Wade was hitting it big.
Yeah, Logger. Which we're good friends with Logger Wade.
Yeah.
So. Of course, I didn't tell anybody I was doing YouTube because I didn't know if I was going to do YouTube or not. I was just going to throw a couple videos up and see what happens and go from there.
It also sounds kind of strange being an adult saying, "Oh yeah, I walk around and talk to myself with a
camera."
camera.
I mean, it's not like as cool as it sounds, it's really not that cool when you're doing it. No. I mean, let's face it. So
you should try and do it with a Russian
My question for Josh is: whenever you did find out I was doing YouTube, what was your thoughts?
You didn't tell me about it until it was kind of catching traction.
Yeah, I probably had close to 1,000 subscribers before you found out. Which I started in November, and I had 1,000 subscribers around March.
Which I mean, at that point, I was like, well, "That's pretty cool. You've got 1,000 subscribers." Which is, I mean, I have 72. You know, so
we should mention that you do have a YouTube channel.
Technically, I have a YouTube channel. It's really for
notes. It's in your notes.
It's really for folks in church to hear my sermons if they're sick or the COVID pandemic.
It's a cool name though. What's the name of it?
It's We'll Preach for Food.
And he's not hungry, he promises.
Yeah, We'll Preach for Food. Yeah.
So anyway, I was doing YouTube. Technically we were still Simon Harris at that time.
Yeah.
And I started YouTube.
I think you told me at Marcy's at lunch one day. You're like, "Look here." I'm like, "What do you mean you got YouTube?"
Yeah, because it started, you were going to find out because it started catching on. It was pretty clear at this point that it might go somewhere, which we're still hoping it goes somewhere, but that's another story. So I guess what was I know what Jenna's initial thoughts were. Jenna's initial thoughts were, "This is stupid. You're wasting your time. It's never going to happen."
Whenever I found out about it, once again, you had over 1,000 subscribers. I knew you had Wade as your friend. At that point, I think he was already on History Channel or about to be on History Channel.
We knew he was going to be on X-Men, but the world didn't.
Okay, so I thought
he was actually filming at that time,
and I knew what Wade was doing, and which a lot of people I don't think still know that in our own home county what Wade's done.
That's a county issue that's sad, but yeah.
But so anyhow, I thought, well, heck, why not? You know, and I realized as I was watching the videos, I'm like, you're actually like starting your camera recording, driving forward, then stopping it, then coming back and getting your camera and editing all that, aren't you? He's like, "Yeah, I'm doing that." All right. Because I mean, it kind of, don't take this in the wrong way, but for you to take the time
that was a big step.
To do that just blew my mind. Because you don't take the time to put keys back. I mean, you know, so.
Now, do you know his philosophy on fries versus hamburger and when like the order of operation falls in?
He is the pickiest eater the world has
ever.
But
he's got being picky. This is
hold on, I need to turn your microphone down.
Mine?
No, his.
Order? Okay. Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so he can't talk now.
I think you muted me so nobody can hear me.
Yeah,
that's nice.
I know it's actually a point on my little plan here, but anyway. So no, it's not that one. So Mike's got it figured out that if he gets a burger and fries, he's got to eat the fries first because the burger will stay warm longer.
It's got more mass.
I don't know what to say to that. I mean,
are you surprised?
I don't. I've tried to when we would be on. If we were out of town. He loves, I can't believe you don't have like Steak and Shake sponsorship.
I know, or Pepsi.
I guess I should turn him up now.
Or Pepsi.
We can let him talk again.
But yeah, he's very, very, very particular in eating. I remember like our first Christmas party, I was buying the food and he started chiming in and I'm like, just stop. Stop. Like, I don't care.
He's like, this is in my lane.
Yeah. Like, no, you don't get the card. No, it's not yours.
One time I showed up, so we're in Columbus, Indiana. It's been a hot job. Remember that job?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was miserable job.
Joshy needs a job, and the boys are hungry. So I'm going to go to the grocery store, and we need to stay on the job because the weather is something.
We were out of town. We had a deadline to get it done that week, and we were working long hours.
So I'm going to be the good guy, you know, and I'm going to get we're going to have to eat lunch meat sandwiches on the job site. That was just apparent. So I go to get the Gatorades and stuff and buy the lunch meat and the bread and stuff. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get boar's head. You know, get the nice fancy cheeses and stuff and kind of spread it out. We're not talking about steak dinners here, but I'm saying I'm gonna treat the guys to a nicer lunch meat sandwich.
Gourmet lunch meat.
Yeah. Gourmet delicacy.
So the guys are like, oh, thanks for the nice cheese, Josh. And, you know, roast beef and boar's head. You know, they're showing appreciation. Right. You know, Michael goes up and looks at it.
Where's the damn turkey?
Do they not have the cheese that's in the plastic, the singles?
Why does that not surprise me?
Where are the shrink wrapped? Like bologna, you know, the round ones. And I'm like, Michael, and the guys are like, shut up, Michael, he got good stuff. I don't think he ate. Just drank Pepsi.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Too busy working.
Nah.
Was there a point to that?
Yeah, it was accomplished, for sure.
So, what were we even talking about? I see you guys all sidetracked now.
Well, we're supposed to talk about the disagreement.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about me starting a YouTube channel and, and your thoughts on that.
No, I thought it could go just because I'd seen what Wade had done, and I mean, I thought, and I saw what you had put out, and I thought, I guess this could go, you know. So
my whole, to your point, everybody, you know, I want to bring this up, as Wade had been on me for years about starting a YouTube channel. I didn't have time. I was too busy running around managing projects, and one thing we should add is I was still managing all the projects for Simon Harris, and I'd still try to sneak in a small excavating job on the weekend or the evenings or something. So my time was consumed. And whenever we made the decision to, work our way out of Simon Harris that transition year, I'm thinking, well, I'll have some time on myself. And Simon Harris's workload was much less that last year too. Mm-hmm. I thought, you know what, if I'm ever going to start a YouTube channel, now's the time to do it. So I'm going to have all this free time because I'm getting rid of Simon Harris. I don't know if getting rid of, but you know, Simon Harris is phasing out, so I'm going to have YouTube can replace that. And of course, you know, I like it if I'm going to do something, it's worth doing it right. So that was kind of my thought process behind the timing of starting YouTube, and now hindsight being 2020, 2 years later. 2020, get it? It's like actually 2020.
He's so funny.
Can I hit the table again?
Yeah, go right. There you go.
I don't have time for YouTube, but I don't have no choice anymore but to make time. I do have time for YouTube, but it's consumed more time than I intended on it was. But it's also,
I was very surprised. The first, our last projects, when he started like getting serious about filming for YouTube, like he would just like stop working. Right. You know, like concrete's here, and he's like, I'm gonna set up the. Like we would build things to put the camera under.
Oh yeah, you know about that one. You know, that basement might have been after years. Yeah, the basement was after.
You know, he would stop production. I'm not mad. I mean, but you know, I just noticed how he would.
Very uncharacteristic for me.
Yes, and to get a different shot, or you know, fly the drone overhead, or you know, I don't know what. You know, it took a significant amount of time. It does take time, I guess.
It does take time. I mean, as the years have went on and I've done more and more videos, I got much more efficient at it. We're actually going to do a podcast with Farmer Chris about that because he's probably a customer of mine as far as being a customer for a YouTuber, because a lot of people think well, do you back charge them for the time? Do they get royalties off of it? Do they get this, that, and there? So we're going to
That's a good point, Farmer Chris. Farmer Chris is a parishioner of mine.
So we're gonna do a podcast with Farmer Chris at some point as far as what it's like to being a customer of a YouTuber. So get another shameless plug in there. But as time went on, I'd say my video quality went up, and the time I put into the videos has went down. You know, I've kind of figured out how to be efficient at it, how to do it in a timely manner and still get a product. But I was just kind of curious. You know, me and you never really ever talked about it because it was always all business, and I mean, I don't think you really cared about what I was doing as far as YouTube, and we kind of knew the end was in sight. So
I thought it was cool. I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as having, I don't know, input. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it was just never come up in conversations when we were sitting around talking about spreadsheets or anything else.
No, I mean we talked about YouTube a lot once it started. I mean, it was. But I didn't have any input into it. It was more of like, what'd you do? That's cool.
I don't think I ever straight up asked you your thoughts of, hey, I think I'll start. I never come to you and said, Josh, I'm starting a YouTube channel.
What do you think? You never did that.
I guess that's what I'm trying to go.
Yeah, you never. I had no idea until you were probably a over 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I was probably close to.
And I think you told me at Marcy's. I'm like, really?
Now I got to control his volume again for this one. But do you think there may have been a reason that he waited until he was somewhat successful to tell you about it, so you couldn't kind of shoot his ego down?
No, I knew Jenna did that pretty well, and she was successful. At least that's what I hear, right? She laughed at you?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk again? Sorry.
So whenever I actually got a video coming out on this. I don't know when this podcast will air compared to what I got going on, but I was mowing my front hill in front of my house with a John Deere 120, and a lot of people don't know this, but it's also where my dad got killed, which I don't talk about a whole lot. And I just remember sitting down there, Wade had been in my ear about starting a YouTube channel, and I was down there where the accident happened, and I was mowing this hillside with the excavator, and I thought, you know what? This is kind of cool. Maybe it's worth trying. And we just, I think a week or two before that, which it would have been in November, we kind of made the decision that 2018 was going to be our last year, or 2019 was going to be our last year. 2019 was going to be our last year. We thought that it would look much drastically different. Yeah. Whatever. So I wouldn't say we made the final decision, but we had several conversations.
Things were about to change.
So, I'm sitting down in an excavator, I'm mowing this hillside, I'm, there where the accident happened. Me and him just had conversations about, a huge transition. And I thought, you know what, maybe it's worth trying this YouTube thing. What the heck? Wade just signed a deal with History Channel. He's going to be on Axeman. Nobody really knew where that was going to go. Mm-hmm. So I come home that night and took a shower, and was talking to Jenna, and I said, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And she straight out horse laughed me. I mean, just horse laughed me. I said, what's so funny? She's like, you don't even like having your picture taken. What are you going to do, walk around and talk to a camera?
Which is a valid point.
Yeah, it was a valid point. I'm like, do you not have any faith? Whatever. So, true story. I said, you going to help me with this? I said, I might need some help with this. She's like, yeah. So she agreed to help me, and she edited my first video. Like, she legit did my first video.
How the times have changed.
I had looked over her shoulder, and I told her everything to do, but she actually did it. And I realized...
I do too.
I realized very quickly that was not going to work.
That's the first time I've heard. I mean, that's a cool story. I had no idea that you kind of made that decision down there. I know where your dad passed away.
And I actually got a video coming up, which is the 2-year anniversary of it, kind of talking about it a little bit, doing that. Actually doing the same job, because I mow that every 2 years. Right. I didn't video the first time, so I actually got a video the second time. So anyways, so I kind of just did my own thing for like a month. Like I was making videos, editing videos, and posting videos, and didn't even tell Jenna about it. And all of a sudden, it started catching a little bit of fire one day, and I told her, I said, this may have a chance, and she horse laughed at me again. And the first YouTube check come in, all of a sudden, it was a great idea.
When did you come? I've never heard this story. When and how did you come up with the term Dirt Perfect? Like, I just found that out, and I've never asked that. Here's my channel, it's called Dirt Perfect. That's a good name, but I never...
That's actually a good story. So I wanted it to be Dirtball TV. That's what I wanted to call my channel, was Dirtball TV.
I thought it was Dozer Dad.
Well, I'm getting there.
Oh, sorry.
So, I was dead set on Dirtball TV. Jenna thought that was the god-awfulest name ever, and she's asking all of her friends, which are females, not in the dirt business. They all thought it was the horriblest idea ever. So I'm like, she's like, you can't.
Horriblest.
Yeah, horriblest, yeah.
Most horriblest.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So anyways, you can't be Dirtball TV, so I'm all heartbroken. So then we come up with the name Dirt Perfect. And everybody seemed to like Dirt Perfect, and everybody was okay with Dirt Perfect. So I had it as Dirtball TV, then I changed it to Dirt Perfect. And then you guys know how good I am at spelling. I spelled Dirt Perfect wrong, so I had to go in and fix it. Okay?
I'm laughing with you.
I know. I don't care. I know I suck at spelling in English and the whole language. But,
the whole language? Maybe Russian. Try that. He seems to do it.
So I changed it. I had it as Dirtball TV. I changed it to Dirt Perfect and spelled it wrong. I changed Dirt Perfect to the correct spelling. Yeah. And then I come up with Dozer Dad. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's what my channel name was going to be, was Dozer Dad. Well, YouTube won't let you change your name more than 3 times in 30 days, so I was stuck with Dirt Perfect.
Which is also how Logger Wade got stuck with Logger
Wade.
Which is
also how Logger Wade got stuck with Logger Wade, because he wanted to be something else.
Comment. One of the things I've noticed about your all's YouTube community, which I'm not a part of, and that's but you guys call each other. The first time I met him, I didn't know what Jason Works A Lot was, and he was in the market, and you said, hi, this is my friend Jason Works A Lot. I'm like, Jason's your name? And then I think you're like, that's his YouTube channel. And I always called Wade. And something about me here today, I called him Logger Wade.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought, that's so weird they call each other like Dirt Perfect and Logger Wade. And here I am, like Logger Wade.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's just interesting. When you guys talk amongst yourselves, like it's Jason and Mike and Wade, or how does that?
I don't know. I've never really thought about it.
Because you introduced him to me the first time as Jason Works
I do remember that, actually.
That's actually not the first time I met you.
When did we meet?
When you guys were cleaning out your office. You're filing away all the awards you didn't want anymore.
Oh. That was a sermon one time. That's another story.
Yeah. But that's a whole other story about how you take video clips from my YouTube channel and turn them into sermons at church.
Well, that was another sermon. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to go to
So
that.
the one where was he was in the cab.
Yeah,
with
actually,
Chris.
he was there for the video.
Yeah, and you
Actually, it's all his fault.
And Chris sprayed him and Pat with corn.
Oh, that is a good story. I like
And
this
see,
story.
Pat's on my church board. He goes to my church, and he backed up and knocked Pat over.
Yeah.
Everybody loved that. I showed that at church.
I'm glad that you got that correct.
I guess that's okay that I ripped that off of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care.
You showed him
If
tackle.
we're okay with Pat, he's the one who ended
I
up on the
don't know the
ground.
rules.
He tackled an innocent bystander.
That was great.
Yeah.
There was a request that I play at the end of the service too, which I did.
That was a good day. I remember sitting in that combine and asked Chris. I said,
So we need to recap his story real quick. So
he
I
cuts
did
me
a large, well, nobody knows what we're talking about.
Okay. Go ahead.
I did a large clearing job, and Chris was harvesting it for the first time. You were riding in the machine with Chris.
Yeah.
You asked Chris, how much does it cost to run a couple bushels of corn
I
on
said
my
no.
head?
I said, about how much money do you make every couple seconds coming out of this auger? He looked at me funny. He's like, I never thought of it like that. I said, I just want to know how much I got to give you
So
to
I
dump some of
see
this on
the
Mike.
combine pull up.
Yeah.
I hear the auger come on. I know what's about ready to happen, so I take off running. I don't look behind me, and I just tackle Pat. I mean, I mow him down like a football player, and he's videoing it from the cab.
It was good.
Yeah. And I mean, the moral of the story is that Chris basically said, I don't care how much it costs. I'll do it for free.
And it's funny whenever Pat Temple gets knocked over.
Of course, this story would be a whole lot more funny if you actually knew Pat. And
Did you get corn on you?
I don't think I did.
We'll try again this year.
Everybody got a good laugh, and Pat got a sore knee out of it.
What do you guys think my wife's going to pick up my son from practice instead of me? Let's just see what comes back. Can you pick up Dub? We'll see what happens. Oh, speaking of Dub, about names, before we came here, you know how sometimes you don't tell your kids the whole truth about where you're going because they want to go too. So that, and Michael's kids are here, they want to come play with him. And this
Now
and
remember,
that.
Josh, I don't edit this.
That's fine.
Okay.
So this is a story about, it's not a story about you, but I said, where are you going? They said, where are you going, Dad? My son asked. And I said, we're going to Michael's house to meet one of his friends. And he said, is it Jason Works a Lot? And I'm like, yes, it is Jason Works a Lot. So.
All right, so we got to...
Here's the verdict. Thumbs up.
Oh, doing good tonight.
I got her some dark field bed for her landscaping today. They were out at Moses.
Look at you go.
Yeah. All right, so the 10 years we were in business, we covered some of the high points. Nobody works together for 10 years without having some arguments.
Oh, gosh.
So,
yeah.
What would you say I think we'd probably agree on which one was our biggest fight. I call it Bill Goffman's garage.
Yes, Bill Goffman garage. Which we love Bill Goffman.
Yeah, so can I tell my side of Bill Goffman's garage, then you can tell your side?
It's probably this. You tell it. It's probably the same side. Yeah.
So, anyways, this is I'm gonna just hit the high points of all this. Is we just got done building a couple houses,
and that's what we were.
I'm getting there. Calm down. He's already
no.
himself.
No, that I mean, just to.
Hey,
I'm going to let you talk.
This is not take two on Big Fight.
Go for it. I know. No, I'm just saying this. I was trying to explain my mindset and why it was a fight, but you tell the story and then I'll come in at the end. I'm sorry. I'm doing what I said I wouldn't do.
I can cut your microphone too now.
I like this COVID filter. That's why. Is that what this is?
Yeah, that's exactly what.
So,
that
anyways, the gist of this story was we had built probably 3-4 houses in a row. I don't remember, but Josh had 3 or 4 contracts in the works, but none of them were signed yet. And we were closing in on the end of these houses. We were coming to the end. We were a month or 2 away of coming to the end of these houses. And one of the guys here in Derby come to me and said, "Hey, will you build me a garage?" And I said, "Well, let me," I talked to Josh or whatever. And Josh is like, "Well, we're not building that garage. We're not garage builders. We're building houses. I got 3 houses." I said, "Well, you got these contracts signed yet?" He says, "No, but they're all for sure bets."
Not true.
So he'll get his chance. So anyways, I don't know. I don't remember the amount of time that went by, but a week or two, maybe a month went by, and these contracts weren't signed yet. So I tell Bill Goffin that we're going to build his garage because I want to make sure because we were going in the winter, I think. It was in the fall for sure. I know we built his garage in the winter.
Yeah, that may be.
So I was like, man, I said, I want to make sure we had something. Because at this point we had a crew. I think we had 2 full-time guys, Josh and Blake. But nevertheless. So anyways, I commit to building Bill Golfin's garage. And he's not happy about it because we're not garage builders. We're home builders. So I'm like, but you don't have any contracts signed. He's like, I got 3 of them. They're going to be building. How are we going to build a garage? We're building all these houses. I'm like, well, we don't have any contracts. This is a done deal. So that's paraphrasing it. So anyways, long story short, all 3 contracts ended up falling through. And the only thing we had to do that year was build Bill Golfin's garage.
Well, not that year. And I'm not sure if all 3 fell through. At the end of the story, I hate to admit this, big picture, Michael was right. The details are wrong.
That hurts me too.
It was painful.
The important part here was I was right.
I don't know about
so
that.
So what I, we had, like you said, a few employees at that time, which was a big deal for us.
Yeah, that's a big expense, big overhead.
I felt huge pressure on my shoulders. So not only am I trying to get those contracts buttoned up and signed,
we'll have to add it. I'm looking.
It's my turn.
Whenever production.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. Here we go. There you go. Go ahead. Oh no, you can yell at him.
Oh, you turned me down?
No, I turned him down.
Okay.
It's your turn.
I just think it's mine.
Where was I at? I was trying to find other houses.
Right.
And I was really hoping we could get some of those to pan out. I didn't get the plans. I had like a small window of where I would have loved to get the plans, so I could start bidding on it. I didn't get them that time. So, and then I found some other stuff to bid on, so I went to bidding on those, hoping to God that we weren't starving that winter.
Right.
Or that. And you said the year. It wasn't the year, but ultimately, Michael became. It was a point of contention between us. Why aren't you getting a bid together for that garage? I'm like, I'm bidding on houses that cost a lot more than that garage. This
well, and to his point, the jobs he were bidding on were a lot more profitable than what I was wanting to do, which was build off his garage. But
I was gambling that we would get them.
Right.
But mine was a sure bet. I mean, it was a done deal. That was the.
Yeah. So we had a fight right here in the garage about.
How ironic, in a garage.
Yeah, in this garage about. It was a loud fight.
Yeah.
About why we were.
Well, I knew he wasn't excited about building that garage, and I wanted to make sure we had work because I would much rather figure out how to do too much work than not have any work at all.
Right.
And I think the biggest argument or the biggest reason for the fight was that I committed to the garage without his approval. We had talked about it a few times, but he wasn't really excited about it because we were home builders, not garage builders, and yada yada yada. So I think if I remember right, you come here to confront me because you found out that I told Bill we were building this garage.
No, I didn't know that. That's not the way I remember it. I thought you were just mad at me because I had not given him a bid yet. I don't know. I don't think I came here to discuss that, but it came up while I was here.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I mean, keep in mind, this was pretty early in our relationship.
Yeah.
This is probably 2
So we had a good screaming match, and to Michael's credit, once again, and I hate to do this. Why am I doing that so much tonight? I have other stories where Michael looks like a complete idiot. Lots of them.
We're gonna get
to Michael's credit, he's the one that walked away from that.
Yeah.
And then Reagan.
Chris.
One of our employees at the time. Or I don't know if he was the employee or was he hanging out?
I don't think he was working for us. I think he was working for me at the time.
That might have been. But I think he asked. Well, he was working for us, but he asked you if he still had a job on Monday morning.
Yeah, because he kind of floated back and forth there a little bit.
Yeah.
And what did you tell him?
Huh? I told him, yeah.
Okay. I mean, look, if you can't, in all walks of, not going to preach here, but in whatever you're doing, if you can't have strong-willed people with strong opinions, and if you spend this much time together, there's going to be some heated exchanges. If at the end of that you can't come back together, then you probably don't need to go into business.
Well, whenever we were sitting there having this knockdown, drag-out fight, and
we weren't throwing.
No, no, not at all. But I wasn't. I was madder than a wet hen. I mean, I was pissed, but never did I ever think that we were going to not be in business together.
No, that
you know what I mean?
never crossed my mind.
That it was kind of, I don't want to compare it to a marriage because we're making jokes about partnership, but I mean, like divorce wasn't an option in that, and we were going to have to figure it out.
Yeah.
You knew very clearly where I stood. I knew very clearly where you stood, and we were going to have to find the middle ground in that.
And I think part of the frustration was we
didn't
didn't have a house.
Yeah.
So we're both frustrated. And how are we going to meet this goal? We're not in agreement right now of how to meet the goal. So.
And going forward, I mean, we always put houses first, but we always kept a list of odd jobs on the back burner
or properties to work on.
And sometimes that really turned into a pain in the butt because we had the opposite problem, but we figured it was better to have that problem than the one we about had of nothing.
Right.
I'm trying to think of some other good fights we had. Well, we had squabbles here and there, but that was probably the big daddy.
That was a big one.
So let's hear one of you won. I'm trying to think of one you won.
I'll tell you one I won.
All right.
And this is so childish. And do I look every time I talk, I do this. Do I look like an idiot?
No, actually, I can hear you a lot better that way.
Very good.
There you go, perfect.
Yeah,
We're coming. So
If you can just get real close.
Oh, is
to
this the
COVID
one coming from the airport?
yes, it's not the airport. It has nothing to do with construction.
This is the stupidest thing ever.
But I was completely right, and he still won't admit it to this day.
I'm ready for it. Let's go.
I am not a. What's it called? The plane engineers.
Aeronautical?
Aeronautical. That's a big word.
You're asking
Something
me
like
for
that.
big words?
Yeah, I was
This
just
is
gonna-
bad.
Whatever that kind of.
Yeah.
You know.
Aerospace would not be it. That would be like astronauts.
Rocket engine scientist guy. Anyhow,
A Wright brother.
First of all, we've been in Vegas, and when we went to Vegas, I want to be clear, like we had a good time, but at the same time, we were there for business.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford to go out there and blow money and not make connections and not find new products. So, you know, we were tired when we got back from Vegas because we had just worked a lot and been in meetings.
This is the first Vegas trip?
I don't know.
No, this is probably the
Captain Kleeman was with us.
third or fourth.
So this is not Michael Poopy Pants?
It's not Michael Poopy Pants.
No, okay.
He's talking about when you were sick.
Oh, no. This is probably 2 or 3 years later.
Okay.
Yeah. Michael Poopy Pants.
I gotta throw something in every now and then.
And we just have to argue about everything because we're like that.
Uh-huh.
And
But sometimes it's just entertaining.
it's you know, so we're sitting there, and I forget how we're looking at one of the. We're tired. We're coming back, and we're looking at the plane, and Michael starts talking.
I'm still right about this.
No, you're not
Yes, I
right
am.
about it.
Yes, I am.
Keep going.
He started talking about how the engines under the plane would do this to provide a lift.
No, that's not what I said. Yeah. I said if a plane's got enough thrust, it don't need wings for lift. Rocket.
This is not this is all lies.
No,
It's not true.
I told him, I said, look, the engines stay fixed. You know, they're providing the thrust, but the shape of the wing, because of the way the air flows over the wings, is what provides the lift.
And I agree with that. I agree with that.
You
but if you
didn't
have
at the
enough
time.
thrust, you don't need lift.
We
lift.
fought to the point that it started getting serious. And I think, you know, because we started, you know, like we do get louder. Imagine if that knob's not there. We want to keep talking louder till the other one can't.
So into his defense, this is before planes had Wi-Fi, so we're arguing on the plane and we cannot Google it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we hit the airport and Josh started, just typing away.
How planes worked, argument never went away. Eventually, we're in Ripley County.
Yeah.
The homeowners were building a house there, helping build a house. The homeowner's father was a engineer for.
No, it was the guy
for General Electric.
Yeah, it was the guy up in Versailles.
Yeah, it's Ripley County, isn't it?
Yeah.
His dad was an engineer on planes or something.
For GE.
And I'm like,
he actually designed the motors.
Yes. So I'm like, thank God.
He's gonna
We're going to set it
sell
straight
his
today. Stop the project. Forget about, you know.
Yeah.
Shut down, boys.
and I'm like, tell him how this works, an engine, what provides the wing, what provides the lift, and this and that. And he agrees with me completely at that point.
Until I walked over there and gave my side of the story.
Then Michael changed the story like he's trying to do now. And what Michael does every time if he's wrong, he says, we were both right. Has he done that to you? We were both right.
As a matter of fact, yes.
Yeah, I was like, no, we weren't. You were wrong. I was right.
Okay, if it makes you
Another
feel
thing
better,
that these are silly things that we fought over. Coming home from Vegas another year, I looked at this ugly face for 7 days or whatever. We're 45 minutes from home.
Yeah.
Michael wants. There's just a few places where Michael can eat a hamburger and not throw a fit like a child. he's like, hey man, let's, I'm kind of hungry, on the way home, let's stop in and get a burger at Culver's in Corden. I'm like, sounds good. I'm game. He pulls up to park. I haven't seen my family in a week. We're 45 minutes from home. Mm-hmm. We're on the ground. And I'm like, do you need a bathroom or what are we stopping for? And he's like, I don't want to eat in the truck. I hate eating in trucks. I said, dude, we're 45 minutes from home. We've been gone a week. Let's get it to go.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Which way? His way or my way?
No, your way.
Yeah.
I'll sit in the car and eat.
And he's like, I hate eating in trucks. I'd just rather not eat then if we're going to have to eat it in the truck. I said, Michael, I'll drive. At that point, he was driving. Yeah. I said, I'll drive if you want to. No, forget it. And he went through the drive-thru completely mad. Jenna called. I'm just eating my hamburger on the way home, like whatever. Jenna called him up, and she's like, "Is everything okay?" No, everything's not okay. Josh keeps on complaining about the. I said, I'm not complaining. You're complaining.
Josh may be eating the truck.
Yeah, he was so mad. That was another good. I don't know if we fought too much about serious things.
I think that's a good thing.
About business. We didn't fight too much about business, did we?
No, I mean, it's hard to explain. I mean,
we had debates, but not fights.
One thing we were really good at is I'd have crazy harebrained ideas, you'd have crazy harebrained ideas, and we were good at bouncing them off each other and coming up with a plan.
Yeah. We saw it from different angles.
Yeah. You would talk me into stuff, I'd talk you out of stuff, vice versa. I think that's probably one reason we were as successful as what we were for as long as what we were is we weren't, I don't know, set in our ways. We were willing to try stuff and get out of our comfort zone a little bit.
One of Michael's best ideas that ever happened was whenever he wanted to build Icf Mobile Homes. Remember that?
That was a thought, yeah.
Why does that just...
This was my plan.
He was serious about this.
This was my plan. It was genius.
I'm listening.
It was genius. I was going to build the ICF house without the concrete in it, drive it to the lot, pour the have little flaps on the roof that fold up, pour the concrete down the wall. Yeah,
but like in mobile home
you're
style.
looking like, that's right. Somebody's going to be listening to this and they're going to be a millionaire because they listen to me.
Hashtag Nudura.
Are they doing that now?
No, they're not doing it. Nobody's building.
How does that go down the road without blowing all over the place?
Now, we did build some tiny homes. We built at least one tiny home out of ICF.
It can be done. I'm not sure it can be done efficiently, but it can be done.
Well, yes, it can be done, but it makes no financial or efficient.
Well, now you're just talking nonsense.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane over there. Oh man,
we have a lot of dumb stories.
Yeah, we had a lot of good times too. I mean, Christmas parties and Vegas trips, and so he's telling Vegas trips on me. I got one on Josh.
Okay, and then I want to hear about a Christmas party because I know you did Christmas parties.
Yeah, we did Christmas parties. Well, actually, the Vegas trip kind of plays into the Christmas party a little bit. So neither one of us are big gamblers, and neither one of us gamble to make money. We just gamble for entertainment.
Right.
But Josh is a numbers guy, right?
Yeah.
So this is how big a gamblers we are. Like his gambling budget for Vegas is like $300. We're gonna go out there for a week, and he's only gonna gamble $300.
That's the first time my wife's ever heard that number.
So Josh down. Of course, this is back whenever iPhones and apps, all this stuff's like becoming really big. So he downloads this, blackjack. Blackjack.
No, there was a card in the gift shop. Remember that little card?
Oh, yeah. That's what they get you. Gift shop. So Josh, he comes up with this whole new strategy to playing blackjack. It's called, the Martingale 5 or No Man Left Behind? Or
I changed it to No Man Left Behind. The Nightingale something?
Nightingale
strategy.
He's got this all figured out. He's going to go to Vegas and he's going to double his $300.
I didn't say that, but I had a strategy.
Yeah, a strategy. So we land in Vegas, and he can't wait to go try out this new strategy. So we end up going downtown to the Four Queens that night. And basically his strategy is if you bet a quarter and lose, the next time you bet 50 cents. And if you lose, you bet $1. And if you lose, you bet $2. And you just keep doubling your bet until you win, and then you go back to your original bet. Okay? That's basically his thing.
So in 15 hands, you're out.
He knows that for a fact, actually. So we were in Vegas.
Had a lot of bad luck that night.
So we were in Vegas for probably 20 minutes. And next thing I know, he spent like $100 on the table.
That's not true. I never dropped $100
which for
on
Josh
one
is
hand.
like,
That never happened.
Which for Josh is like insane. So, anyways, I don't remember. He had $300 to bet, right? So he's down $250. He's like, we need to quit and go get pizza.
It was $175 I was down. Remember that dealer though?
No, hold on, I'm not done with
Okay.
that. So anyways, we go. So he's smart enough to quit, and I'm laughing pretty hard because I'm over there betting $2 at a time.
Yeah, he's calling everybody back home, telling them.
I thought I was betting like $2 at a time, and I'm still maintaining even,
Yeah.
So we go sit down to eat pizza, and he is distraught. I mean, he is bothered by this. Like he don't know what it is. He just got hit by an airplane flying without wings.
Based on thrust.
And he is trying to figure this out. Like, how did this happen to me? I don't get it. This was supposed to work. I'm
Listen to the
saying this
card.
would work. And I'm over there like, probably just bad luck, Josh.
Moving on to other subjects. Remember that dealer though? I'm sorry, I keep touching the table.
No.
I kept being from Southern Indiana. If I don't know a woman's name,
yeah.
I kept calling her ma'am. It was a woman, right?
I don't know if we're still in the
It seemed. I mean, I thought it was like a female name on the tag or something. And I'm just trying to be polite. I'm losing, and she looked at me and she said, "Stop calling me ma'am." I'm like, that made me really nervous.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Sorry, man.
I said that.
Yeah.
And Michael listened and said, "You better shut up." I'm like, okay, well, let's go do something else.
So the other one I remember is whenever we were like on, I don't know if it was lunch break, we ended up back at the hotel over lunch, and we were staying, and we walk in, there's the craps table over there, and the dealer was like, "Oh, come over here and play," and me and Josh were like, he's like, "You know how to play?" I'm like, "No." We're like, "You know?" Like, "No." He's like, "We'll show you how to play." Like, they can hear us arguing amongst themselves, So
They don't know how to whisper. Maybe they
I'm
know how to
like,
play.
and they're pretty persistent that we're going to play craps. So I'm like, oh, whatever. There's nobody else at the table. It's just us two. So we go down there. The next thing you know, we're like throwing money out. We're rolling dices, and we're winning all kinds of stuff. And I bet if Josh asked once, he asked 100 times, "This is so cool. How do we lose?" And he'd roll the dice again. They give more money.
I had no idea what was happening,
Yeah,
except for
we
I knew
had
the
the
color of
clue.
my chips was changing quickly. The colors I'd never had
So
before.
this goes on for
Favorably,
like
right?
15. Like we started with $5, and we're up like 175, $200.
We were over
And
$200.
Josh, every time, "This is awesome. Can you even lose?" Like he's getting more and more confident with every roll.
We were doing just whatever they told us.
Yeah, so then he rolls a 7, and it's all over.
And then so it was like I have $200, which I came there $5.
Yeah, like we had.
But I saw them scrape $100 away from me, and I'm like, well, this is more than I came with, but we need to figure out how to play this.
So they're like, "All right, throw him back out there," and Josh is like, "No, we're gonna go figure out what happened."
Yeah.
We need to go regroup.
So like the whole
Me and him over lunch. Me and him are both on our
Yeah,
phones.
so the
Like,
whole way
how
up
do you
to
play?
the whole way up the room, I don't think we even said a word to each other. We're just like dumbfounded at what just happened. So we're like Googling, I think we played like 2 more times after that. I got that.
It wasn't
The
any,
dealers are sitting there like, they'll be back.
we just didn't find it to be any fun. Once again, we were just there for fun. We're not trying to make.
And so it.
That was our. I mean, we lost. We spent way more money on shows there than we ever did playing blackjack.
Yeah. But to your point with Vegas and Christmas parties, so Grandma had a blackjack tablecloth, so that ended up being the big thing at our Christmas parties. We'd sit there and play blackjack with quarters, all the guys would have fun there and things. So.
Yeah.
Did you keep with the same strategy, or
I was the dealer. I was the house.
then the house never loses?
We lost. Yeah, the guys did good that year.
But no, man, we had a good run at it. We had a good time. We did a lot to be accomplished. We did a lot to be proud of. We accomplished a lot.
For sure.
And like I told him the other day, I said, I think one of the coolest things is, like he said, we didn't really know each other before. I would say we were friends while we were in business, but we weren't good friends. We're probably better friends now than what we were when we were actually in business.
We didn't regularly go out to eat on Friday, or we didn't go to deer camp together and stuff.
But you're doing what you're passionate about as far as the ministry, and Habitat even falls into that a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I'm back to doing dirt work, and somehow got into the YouTube world, and life's pretty good. We can't complain, man.
And just one other thing to say about partnerships, I think everybody's got a vent. I know darn well there were Friday nights Michael went home and with his buddies that he watched NASCAR with or whatever, Johs Harris is an idiot. He did this.
I never did that with employees though.
No. You got to Yes, you can't do that with employees. I'm not saying you said I was an idiot. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but
blowing off steam with,
Right.
with your buddies, like, you know.
Everybody's entitled to vent.
Yeah, you got to have a venting place. And if you go into business with a friend that used to be your venting place, you know, who do you vent to on Friday night? That can be a real problem. So, but yeah, we had a good run. I'm proud of what we did. Everything has a season.
Yep.
So
it ran its course.
yeah,
That's the best way I know to put it. So.
yeah.
I think in the interest of kind of wrapping it up, because we're about an hour and a half now, could you each give one piece of advice to somebody who could potentially be looking to start a career or a business as an entrepreneur, maybe not in this industry, but, you know.
My biggest piece of advice I always give to everybody is tippy-toe your way into it. You got to get experience and you got to get your name out there, and these people that just jump in eyeball deep in debt right from the get-go, they're always behind the 8 ball from the word go. I'm not saying you don't need to be eyeball deep in debt at some point, but you need to kind of you need to dip your toe into the water, kind of figure out what you're doing, what the business model needs to be, what your strong suits are going to be, where your profit's going to come from, and then you have a better idea how to direct your business. And kind of once you decide to get both toes in the water and go full steam, you got a better idea what to do with it. That's my best piece of advice.
I would say, I don't want to give the standard, you know, business school answer of have a plan, but have a plan. Some things, it's okay to have a good hobby. Some things it's okay to have a good side gig. But if you're going to go full time into something and make that your life's work, I mean your livelihood, your full time occupation, just because it's fun, have a good plan. Is this manageable? Can it grow? Can you sustain your family? Know the difference between cash flow and profit. Just because a check comes in don't mean it's yours. That money needs to go out. Have a good plan. And honestly, you've got to be just a little bit or a lot bit crazy.
Yeah. And a lot of this goes into the last podcast we did about being self-employed is a lifestyle.
That's why I guess not actually crazy, but yeah, I mean you're going to have to.
There was a lot of years we were the lowest paid people in our company.
There were a few years, yeah.
You know, it's just because you're self-employed don't mean you're rich. That's I think the closing statement I would have on that is you got to have some goals, and that's kind of what led to our decision a little bit to change paths because we weren't meeting those goals.
And to go back to the blackjack, you've got to know when it's time to walk away.
Yeah.
Set that up front. Like, hey,
Right.
if come 2024, I can't make this income, or we're still at this, whatever that is for that individual person, know your walk away point.
So write your plan with a timeline. I wouldn't say necessarily pepper in failure, but at least know when
You need to have some milestones. You
Yeah.
need to have some milestones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are going to be setbacks along the way. So don't throw in the towel at your first setback, your second, your third, but know when enough. Tell yourself at this point, by the time the kids are this age, if we're not doing this, then or whatever that goal is for everybody. Everybody's at a different stage in life, different place.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that was good, and
That's a wrap.
Was it? I feel so awkward.
You're like me, you talk with your hands, and it's hard to do that with microphones.
I keep touching the table.
But thank you, Josh, for
Yeah.
coming out and sitting down with us.
It's cool to catch up with them. I mean, we still talk quite a bit, but it's been a while since we sat down and
Yeah.
had a long conversation.
Yeah.
So.
And this has been a few points from Perfect Podcast, episode 5.
To say the least.
To say the least, yeah. If you've got comments or suggestions for future podcasts, leave them down below. Send us an email, a few points from perfect @yahoo.com.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
See ya.